Welcome you all to my next video, and we are going to study the first chapter from Moments, that is the lost child. Okay, as you can see that there's a picture of a fair in which the throng has gathered. Okay, throng means the crowd. People are quite excited, okay, since it was a spring season, okay, and they have gathered there to celebrate spring season. Okay, so a child goes to a fair and with his parents he is happy and excited and wants the sweets and toys displayed there. Displayed where? Displayed in this fair. But his parents do not buy them for him. Why then does he refuse when someone else offers them to him? So this is the question which you are going to explore. Okay, you are going to explore the answer for this question after reading the chapter, my dear children. Okay, so let's begin with the chapter. Before we begin with the chapter, I'll give you a short introduction about the author of the story. The story is written by Mulk Raj Anand. Mulk Raj Anand was born on 12 December 1905 in Peshawar, which is currently in Pakistan, and died on 28 September 2004 in Pune. He was an Indian writer and he wrote notable novels, short stories, okay, and was a very prominent figure in Indian English literature. Fine, one of the pioneers of Indo-Anglo fiction. His writing career began in England, where he used to publish short reviews in T.S. Eliot's magazine Criterion. He won the Sahitya Academy Award for his novel The Morning Face in 1968, and then again he was also honored with Padma Bhushan, India's third last civilian award in 1967 for his vast contribution towards the field of literature and education. So he was a very prominent figure in Indian English history, literature, okay, and he has basically depicted the rural life, okay, as you can see in the story also, the village life where the throng has gathered, the organization of fair, how cheerful they are, okay, how excited they are, how happy they are, okay. So this is what is the description given by him in the story. So let's read the story now. Let's begin with the story. The Lost Child, as I told you, is written by Mulk Raj Anand. Fine. And it was the festival of spring. The family went there to the fair, okay, organized on this occasion. They were there to celebrate the festival of spring with their child. Now, from the wintry shades of narrow lanes, lanes means path, okay, and Alice means passage. So from the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily. Gaily means cheerful. Okay, it's not gaily, it is gaily. Gaily means cheerful clad. Clad means dressed up. Okay, so the people who went there to the fair were quite happy, they were cheerful, they were clad in cheerfulness, they were dressed. It means they were very happy. Okay, they were excited. Okay, gaily clad humanity, entire human being over there from the village, in and around the village, went there to witness this festival of spring. Okay, to witness that fair. Some walked, okay, some rode on horses. So how they appeared in the fair, that's what has been described by the author over here. You can just see he has depicted the rural countryside area in his story. Okay, so how attached he is to his roots. So some walked, some rode on horses, others sat, being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. Some were on bullock carts, some walked, okay, some were on horses. So they adopted different, they used different means of transport, okay, to reach in that fair. One little boy ran between his father's legs, brimming over with life and laughter. Now you can see the group of words brimming over with life and laughter means he was overflowing. He was very excited, was very happy. Okay, he was brimming. Brimming means overflowing, surging. So he was overflowing. He was quite excited, highly excited with life and laughter. Come, child, come, called his parents as he lagged behind. As he was always left behind, lagging behind, don't lag behind. Please come forward. Okay, do your work. You are just lagging behind. So, teachers, you usually hear that from them that they use this word. Okay, so come, child, come, called his parents as he lagged behind. Okay, fascinated, very amazed by the toys in the shops that lined the way. Mulk Raj Anand has also described the psychology of a human being over here. What kind of psychology we human beings possess? When we have certain things, we don't give importance. You all have your parents with you, but I would like to ask you a question. How much time do you spare with your parent? Do you sit with them? Do you help them in their work? Just think. Okay, that's what he has talked about. When we possess something, we don't give importance to all those things. But then once we lose it, isn't it? When we don't have those things, when we do not possess those things, we definitely, like urge to have those, desire to have all those things. Okay, so this is what again you will study in this chapter. So as you can see, he is a boy with his family, isn't it? Father and mother, and every time his mother nudges him, pulls him towards them so that he may not be left behind in the fair. Okay, and he is just he's just urging for balloons sometimes, sweets sometimes. Okay, rasagulla sometimes. Okay, he was attracted by the snake charmer over there in the fair. Okay, and here you will get the climax of the story. What happens after that? Now he hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call. Every time it seems that his father, you will read in the story that his father was quite strict. Okay, and every time, whenever his parents called him, every time he lagged behind. Okay, he was left behind. Every time his mother called him, and he just ran, his feet obedient to their call. He just listened, he just obeyed to their call. Okay, and ran towards them, his eyes still lingering on the receding toys. Receding, you can see this word, receding, diminishing. As he went along, as I told you, he was captivated. Okay, he was attracted towards, he was allured by different things, different toys, then sweets in the fair. And every time when he saw, okay, those toys, he wanted to have them. Okay, have those toys. So whenever he was pulled, so that was receding toys means diminishing. It seemed to be diminishing from his eyes because he was being pulled by his parent. Okay, as he came to where they had stopped to wait for him, he could not suppress the desire of his heart. So but for longer time, he could not suppress, he cannot stop himself, his desire, his want, okay, his wish, okay, of his heart. Even though he well knew the old cold stare of refusal in their eyes, he very well knew that his parent is not going to accept whatever he demands. Okay, he knew that, but every time he desired to have those things. Okay, I want that toy, he pleaded. Pleaded means requested. His father looked at him red-eyed. Red-eyed means to become red eye. Okay, to have red eye means to become, angry. Okay, so every time he was given a cold stare of refusal, his father became very angry and looked at him with red eyes. In his familiar tyrant's way, tyrant means dominating way. Definitely, he is, he holds the authority in the house, father. Okay, so he is a dominating figure over here. Fine. So his father looked at him red-eyed as if very angry, and he keeps on refusing. Every time the boy demands for the things, every time he refuses in his familiar tyrant's way. Tyrant's way means in a dominating way. His mother, melted by the free spirit of the day. Mother are very caring, isn't it? They're very loving. So she was very excited, melted by the free spirit of the, as if she was quite free. She has got the freedom. She was also quite, happy, was tender, was soft on other hand. Okay, moreover, his father, his father was quite angry man, you can say, giving him her finger to hold, said, look, child, what is before you? Okay, and they told, look, child, what is before you? So it was a flowery mustard field, pale like melting gold as it swept across miles and miles of even land. Okay, so the author has very well, compared the mustard field with melting gold. Okay, to melting gold. So it was yellow, yellow like melting gold. Simile, comparison is being done. Okay, so simile is a literary device used over here, and the author is very well, comparing flower mustard field very beautifully. You can see how beautiful you can see the field over here. Okay, in the picture, how beautiful it looks. Okay, it looks beautiful like melting gold. Okay, mustard field, pale like yellow like melting gold as it swept across, covered across miles and miles of even land. Okay, a group of dragonflies were bustling about on their gaudy, colored purple, colorful purple. Okay, purple wings, colored purple wings, intercepting means obstructing the flight of a lone only black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flower. So how beautiful description has been given, by Mulk Rajan, and how beautifully he has described what village should be. Okay, or what a village is in our country. Anyone can imagine after reading it. The child followed them. Followed what? Followed those butterflies. Okay, bustling dragonflies in search, followed them in air. Okay, as it, they were flying in the air with his gaze very attentively so that he may not miss those dragonflies. He wanted to catch those butterflies and dragonflies till one of them would still its wings take rest. Okay, and rest still its wings on somewhere on the flower. If you have seen a butterfly sitting on the flower, okay, so they're still in position, okay, at rest, and he would try to catch it. Okay, catch at once those butterfly, but it would go fluttering, flapping of the wings of the birds. Okay, so fluttering, flapping, onomatopoeia up into the air when he had almost caught it in his hands. Then his mother gave a cautionary call, okay, in order to make him aware, to alert him. Come, child, come onto the footpath. Okay, so he was called onto the footpath. Next, onto the footpath. Okay, fine. So very beautiful, picturesque description. You can say how beautifully Mulk Raj Anand has portrayed the village scenario, the village life, people gathering in, okay, in a fair, and there's what to say, chaos all around. The throng has gathered in the fair. They're quite excited. It is a spring festival. They have all gathered to celebrate that spring festival. Now he ran towards his parents gaily, happily, cheerfully, and walked abreast of them. Abreast of them means side by side. Okay, abreast means to move side by side. Okay, side by side for a while, being however soon left behind, attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath that were teeming out. Teeming out means coming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. Spring season, sunshine, flowers. What a beautiful, picturesque description Mulk Raj Anand has given in his story. Okay, so spring season, people visiting fair there, isn't it? Celebrating all together. So this gives you the scenario, isn't it? It tells us about our country. Okay, the village life, people in village, how they live together. Okay, how they live together and with great unity. So this is the culture of our country, my dear children. So he ran towards his parent gaily and walked abreast of them. Abreast means side by side, for a while, being however soon left behind. Again he was attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath that were teeming out from their hiding places. They were teeming out means coming out, okay, from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. Come, child, come. His parents called from the shade of a grove. Grove, it's a bush, okay, small wood, okay, or other group of trees, you can say group of trees, where they had seated themselves on the edge of a well. He ran towards them. A shower of young flowers fell upon the child as he entered the grove, and forgetting his parents, he began to gather the raining petals, that has fallen. Raining petals. What kind of petals? Raining petals. Petals has been described over here. This is, this is called participle. Raining, participle. It functions as adjective, okay. So, and forgetting his parents, he began to gather the raining petals in his hands. But look, he heard the cooing of doves and ran towards his parents shouting, the dove, the dove. The raining petals dropped from his forgotten hand, okay. So the raining petals dropped from his forgotten hand. So every time, he was given a cautionary call by his parent. Every time he was made alert, he was made aware that he may not lag behind. And every time, he was attracted and captivated towards many things present there. Sometimes, towards the birds, sometimes, towards the cooing of birds, sometimes, towards insects, sometimes towards such a beautiful, mustard field there. Fine. Next. Now, parent called him, come child, come. They called to the child, who had now gone running in wild capers. Wild capers means making wild movements, running hither and thither around the banyan tree. And gathering him up, they took the narrow winding footpath, okay, just crisscross footpath, okay, which led to the fair through the mustard fields. As they neared the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs. Throngs is, collective noun, okay, it means crowd, okay, converging to the whirlpool, okay. Converging means just it seems that the path advancing towards the whirlpool, the mess of the fair, okay, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was in, since it was a huge crowd over there, okay. So he seemed to be repelled, sometimes irritated, sometimes excited. He seems to be confused even, okay, because the entire thing was quite messy over there. The throng from here and there, as I told you, have gathered in the fair. So sometimes he was quite excited, sometimes, frustrated, and sometimes confused. Fine. Now, a sweetmeat seller hawked gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed round his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets decorated with leaves of silver and gold. The child stared open-eyed, and his mouth watered for the barfi that was his favorite sweet. Okay, now as he went near the sweetmeat seller, okay, and he wanted to have those sweets now. Fine. And he said, I want that barfi. He slowly murmured. Murmured means whispered. Okay. But he half knew as he begged, and he very well knew that even if he pleads, even if he begs, okay, that is pleading, that his request would not be heeded, would not be paid attention to, or would not be listened. Okay, because his parents would say he was greedy. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So very well, Mulk Raj Anand has depicted a child's psychology, okay, not only humans but child psychology in his story. Then a flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn, means he was tempted. He could not stop himself. He was tempted. Okay, he just wanted to have those garland of gulmohar now. Okay, so The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped and half murmured, I want that garland. Now he wanted to have that garland. Okay, but he well knew his parents would refuse to buy him those flowers because they would say that they were cheap. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So first, as I told you, he was attracted towards, he was captivated towards many things in the fair. Okay, and as you have learned also, okay, sometimes towards the cooing of the doves, sometimes towards the pale, yellow mustard field, okay, and now towards the sweetmeat seller, instead of knowing, in spite of knowing that he would get nothing but a denial, okay, a refusal from his parents. So he kept on moving, and then again he saw a hawker, flower seller hawker, who was selling a garland of gulmohar. He also wanted to have that, but then again, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. He knew that his father is not going to agree to the things which he demanded. Now, as you can see in balloon, isn't it? Balloon is there, then a snake charmer is there. A man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green and purple balloons flying from it. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire. Overwhelming means enormous desire, want to possess. He wanted to have those colorful balloons over there, but he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. He wanted to have those colored balloons, okay, balloons of different color. Fine, but then he very well knew that his parent is not going to agree with that. Fine, they would say he was too old, he was too big to play with such toys. So he walked on farther. Now, in the next paragraph, he was attracted towards a snake charmer. He was captivated to see a snake charmer who stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan. Okay, so again a description is given how the snake head was bent. It is compared to the neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears. Snake, they do not have ears. Fine, like the gentle rippling of an waves, okay, of an invisible waterfall. So here again his ears, okay, is compared to that of gentle rippling of an invisible. Rippling means small waves in a water, sometimes waterfall, sometimes it is very invisible to our eyes, my dear children. Okay, so likewise he says over here that to a snake which coiled itself in a basket. If you have seen a snake charmer, actually the entire description is of a village. Okay, these things have extinguished, okay, from our life, but then again these things actually add importance. Okay, how beautifully he has described the village, the countryside area in his story. A snake charmer, strong playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself. If you've seen snake sitting in a basket which a snake's charmer possesses, okay, so itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend, okay, like the neck, and his head has been compared to the neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears. Invisible ears because they do not possess ears, my dear children, like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. Snakes, I think they sensitize the things, isn't it? And they move with the, they can feel the motion. Okay, they don't have ears, my dear children. So into its invisible ears, like the gentle rippling means small waves of an invisible waterfall. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden means to stop, okay, him to hear. Forbidden means to stop, to forbid, to stop someone, him to hear such coarse music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. Every time, he has to satisfy himself, okay, by giving himself a lame excuses. Okay, he very well knew that he won't be allowed to witness, to see all these things. So he kept on moving along with his parent. Now, there was a roundabout swing, in full swing. Men, women, and children carried away in whirling motion. Roundabout swing, if you have gone to fair, okay, if you have visited fairs, you might have seen roundabout swing in moving in full speed. Full swing means moving in full speed, okay, whirling motion, okay, shrieked, shrieking, shouting, screaming, loud, and cried with a dizzy laughter. Dizzy laughter means, dizziness, as if they will faint, and they are shouting. Okay, they're shrieking, they're screaming. The child watched them intently, desirably, and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, mother. There was no reply this time. He was left behind. He turned to look at his parents. They were not there ahead of him. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. Okay, and he couldn't find his parent over there. A full, deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in real fear. Mother, father, tears rolled down from his eyes, hot and fierce. His flushed face, his red face was convulsed, was contracted, was contracted with fear. He was frightened, okay? His face became red, contracted, convulsed. He was full of fear, and that could be seen. Those expressions could be very well seen on his face, okay? As he was left behind, he couldn't find his parent there, okay? He was filled with pain, panic stricken, very frightened. He ran to one side first, then to other. He was jostled hither and thither, here and there. My dear children, it is, here and there, use of adverb, and it is an old English used over here. Okay, hither and thither, in all directions, knowing not where to go. He was helpless. He found himself helpless. Mother, father, he wailed. He wailed means he cried. Wailed means cried. Okay, his yellow turban came untied, and his clothes became muddy. He couldn't find his parent now. He was filled with, fear. He was panic stricken. He couldn't do anything. He was jostled. He was pushed. Sometimes he moved to one side, sometimes to other. Okay, so he found himself quite helpless this time. Now, having run to and fro, as I told you, from one side to another, in a rage, in anger, okay, of running for a while, he stood defeated. He couldn't do anything. He found himself defeated. He was helpless. His cries suppressed into sobs. Now he started, sobbing, that kind of sobbing. This is called sobbing. At little distances on the green grass, he could see through his filmy eyes, everything filmy because he was crying, my dear child. And everything appeared to be shady. Okay, nothing was visible. I have given all the word meanings at the end of the text. Okay, so as if he could not see anything, filmy eyes. Okay, nothing was visible. The image, the vision was blurred. You can see blurred image or vision. Okay, he couldn't see anything. Nothing was visible, as if men and women talking. He tried to look intently among the patches of bright yellow clothes, but there was no sign of his father and mother among those people who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. He ran quickly again, this time to a shrine, to a temple, to which people seemed to be crowding. Every little inch of space, every bit of space here was congested. Okay, it was completely congested, packed with men we are studying about, you just keep fear in mind. How people push, jostle, even if you have visited fear, you know the scenario. They push each other. There's a huge crowd, my dear children, but he ran through people's legs, his little sob lingering, delaying. He kept on crying, "Mother, father," near the entrance to the temple. However, the crowd became very thick. Now the crowd was very thick. Men jostled. Jostled means pushed each other. Okay? Heavy men with flashing, murderous eyes and hefty shoulders, strong shoulders. Okay? Hefty, strong, heavy. The poor child struggled to thrust away, and he tried to thrust away means make a way between their feet, but knocked to and fro, but was knocked here and there by their brutal movements. Definitely, my dear children, it is the scene of a fair where people have gathered. Okay, and they jostle each other when they move. There's a huge crowd. Just imagine the scenario and situation when the boy might have been left alone, okay, between their feet, but knocked to and fro by the brutal movements. He might have been trampled underfoot. Trample someone means smashed. It seemed he was smashed underfoot. Had he not shrieked at the high pitch of his voice, "Father, mother," so he just, shouted very loudly, he shrieked, he cried loudly. Okay? Now, a man in the surging crowd. Surging means, as I told you, brimming, overflowing. Very huge crowd. Heard his cry, and stooping means bending. With great difficulty, lifted that boy in his arm. "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" the man asked as he steered clear of the mass. Okay? As he just, steered clear means moved, okay, outside the mass, the throng. He tried to clear the way in order to move out with that boy from the mass. The child wept more bitterly than ever now and only cried, "I warned my mother, I warned my father." The man tried to soothe him, to pacify him by taking him to the roundabout. "Will you have a ride on the horse?" he gently asked as he approached the ring. The child's throat tore into 1,000 shrill this time. He sobbed and he only shouted, "I want my mother, I want my father." So every time, at the beginning you have read that, every time the child lagged behind and every time his parent, called him. Okay, but now he wanted his mother and father back. Nothing can move him now. He just wanted them back, his parent back. Now the man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute to the swaying cobra, and he wanted the child to listen to the music which was being played by the snake charmer. "Listen to that nice music, child," he pleaded. But the child shut his ears with his fingers and shouted his double-pitched strain, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man took him near the balloons, thinking the bright colors of the balloons would distract the child's attention and quieten him, but this time nothing could move. "Would you like a rainbow-colored balloon?" he persuasively asked. He forced him. Okay, the man forced him. But then again, this time the child did not want anything. He just wanted his parent back. The child turned his eyes from the flying balloons and just sobbed, "I want my father, I want my mother, I want my father." Okay, so this time he did not want anything. He just wanted his parent back. The man, still trying to make the child happy, bore him. Bore him to means took him. Okay? Took him into the gate where the flower seller sat. "Look, can you smell those nice flowers, child?" Would you like a garland to put around your neck? See, every time he wanted to have these things, sometimes sweets, sometimes he was captivated towards what? The snake charmer, sometimes colored balloons, but this time he did not want anything. He just wanted his parent back. Can you smell those nice flowers, child? Would you like a garland to put around your neck? The child turned his nose away from the basket and reiterated his sob. Reiterated means repeated. Fine? It means repeated. His sob. I want my mother. I want my father. Thinking to humor his disconsolate charge by a gift of sweets. Now, the stranger thought to make him happy. Thinking to humor means to make him happy. Okay, as he was disconsolate, charged means he was sad. Why he was sad? Because he couldn't find his parent now in the fair. He lagged behind, and this time there was no cautious call. So thinking to humor his disconsolate charge by a gift, by sometimes, giving him sweets, offering him sweets, the man took him to the counter of the sweet shop this time. What sweets would you like, child? He asked. The child turned his face from the sweet shop and just cried, I want my mother, I want my father. We don't know whether he get his parent back or not. But still, you can understand, my dear children, when we possess things, okay, when the things which we have, sometimes we don't give respect to it, isn't it? When we have parents with us, but we forget to respect our parents, okay? We sometimes, argue with them. But let me tell you, this is never going to help you, dear children. Respect your parents. Help them whenever they need your help. Okay? And do your duty. So here I have provided you with the hard words. You can go through it, and I'll provide you with few questions also, assignment questions that you will do in your English copies. So as I told you, these are the hard words. Okay, so you'll go through the hard words. Fine. And still, if you have any doubt, we are going to discuss it while we'll have our online classes. Okay. So now next we'll go through the summary of this chapter. Okay. The Lost Child is a short story about a child and his aspiration, his desire, demands and realization. The story is mainly focused on the awareness for parents. The message is, we really don't understand the true value of parents and take them as granted. The significance of parents is only revealed once they're out of sight and we realize the world is upside down. There's complete chaos, my dear children. Okay? Please respect your parents. That's what I want to say. This is what the little child realized once he got lost in fear. The ending is somewhat bizarre, very strange. We don't know whether the child gets back his parent or not. Okay? So the ending is somewhat bizarre, as the reader keep on guessing whether the lost child finally found his parents or not. So my dear children, please give respect to your parent. Help them whenever they need your help. So thank you. Take care of yourselves. Complete the notes in your copy. I'll provide you with an assignment for this chapter. Thank you, children.